to Beyond Bridge, the podcast where courage meets community. We shine a light on the stories, science, and support that define the breast cancer journey. From survivors and thrivers to doctors and advocates, we're here to share real conversations, expert insights, and the hope that carries us forward. Whether you're newly diagnosed, a lifelong fighter, or walking alongside someone you love, this is your space, your voice, and your story. Welcome to this podcast episode of Beyond Bridge. The guest today is Terry Caldwell, a cancer thriver. Terry. She had stage 1 estrogen receptor positive cancer in her left breast, and she is embarking on her 5-year survival rate. Is that correct, Terry?
That is correct.
All right. So welcome to the bridge.
Thank you.
Terry, as I said, Terry is a thriver who was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2020. Okay, and at the time we were in the COVID shutdown, so there's really not a whole lot that she could have been doing other than being in the house.
Yes.
All right. So Terry, we're going to just take a journey with you. Share with us your story. You are a cancer thriver, as you would say. So that means you are living beyond what cancer would have done to you.
Yes.
So give us a little bit of insight into your personal journey.
Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. I never imagined that I'd be in the studio talking about cancer. But again, yes. So I am not new to medical problems. I had really bad endometriosis growing up. I had stage 4 endometriosis when I was eventually diagnosed. But having a cancer diagnosis is a whole different thing. Started with words like carcinoma, words that I was not familiar with growing up as a child or even as an adult. Growing up in Jamaica, we always heard of the big C, the black boil, all the terms. But I overlooked the word carcinoma in my medical report because I had no idea what that was. So we were sent home during COVID for what was supposed to be like a 2-week lockdown. And maybe a month in, I started walking like everyone else and just had a little bit of discomfort in the left breast. I had purchased a weighted vest, and it just seemed like that area, that 1 o'clock region position on the left breast was very irritated. So I started rubbing on it, and whilst taking a shower is when I actually felt what was, I guess, my cancer eventually. But it was a lump. It was a hard lump, and it hurt. So, of course, running to my mom, I feel something in it. Does it hurt? Because if it hurt, it's probably not cancer because, once it hurt, it's not cancer. But it was one of those things where you watch the movie where the lights come in and you're screaming, no, because I knew it was cancer, but I didn't know it was cancer.
So you had a premonition that it could have been. Yes.
And then I was like, in the shower is where I usually talk to God. So I was like, you've got to be kidding me. After 3 failed IVF cycles, hyperstimulation, and everything else, you're giving me the big C. So we had a little falling out, of course.
You and the Lord.
Me and the Lord.
Okay.
We had a little falling out as a result of this, especially since the shower is such a private place for me and God. And for me to actually feel it, that's where I actually came to fruition for me. So everything kind of proceeded kind of quickly. I just put myself on autopilot. When you're told you have cancer, you just kind of do whatever they tell you to do. So ended up going to the doctor. He didn't feel it with just a superficial exam. I had to show him where it was. And then he sent me to a breast doctor. We did the mammogram. We did the ultrasound. And this was all in the same setting. So mammogram, ultrasound. And then I met with the physician who said she saw a starburst. And I'm thinking, a starburst? Isn't that a chewy, sweet candy? That couldn't be that bad. And she's like, no, that's cancer. Starburst is usually cancer. And I was like, isn't that a chewy,
sweet
candy? And from there, I kind of just did whatever they told me to do.
Okay, so you got the diagnosis. You went through all of these procedures. What was the treatment, and what was that like?
So, based on my ANCA score, which is a score that you and your oncologist decide. I think if it's over 20, maybe 21, 22, you can teeter-totter to decide chemo or not. But based on my 24, we did chemotherapy. So I elected, with the advice of my breast doctor, let me back up, to do a lumpectomy because it was a stage 1 cancer. It was 1.5 centimeters, I think it was. So we did a lumpectomy. A rod was placed in the breast, and I was sent to the belly of the hospital to have that nuclear testing done to see if there were lymph nodes effective. I think we took 2 lymph nodes out. So lumpectomy, chemotherapy. So I lost all my hair. So y'all, this is all new hair. If y'all see me in the streets, this is all new hair. And then 17 rounds of radiation, which is really strange because there's no burning present until you're finished. It's like magic. So during the 17 zaps, you go every day, Monday to Friday. There's nothing there. And then after the last one, little spots started coming, and maybe by day 4, the full breast was black. And then a section wherever the machine, the radiation machine touched, it created a rectangular section on all of my left side, and it was just totally black. My arm developed also a bubble, like a burn bubble, and a couple of them popped. So the treatments are first, and then they're second, and then they're third, and then they just go on and on and on. So that's where I am. I was also given a 5-year treatment, tamoxifen. I'm sorry. I didn't handle that too well because of the bone pain. So we are on letrozole, a very low dosage of letrozole.
Are you still on these medications now?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am. I also opted to have a hysterectomy since my cancer was estrogen positive, and I wasn't hesitant because I had endometriosis and I just wanted to be done with it. I had my son and I was good to go. So, yeah.
So you had mentioned that you were in the shower
Mm-hmm.
and you're having this conversation with God.
Yes.
So how was your spiritual journey during this time? Did you blame God? Did you get mad at him? Did y'all have a reckoning? What was that like?
I felt silent. I feel like I couldn't hear him, partly because I didn't want to, because I didn't think he had anything to say to me.
Were you fearful?
No, I wasn't fearful, but I've always had a very strange relationship with God. Even as a child in Jamaica, I used to walk to church. I'm the only one in my household that would go to church. And when I could take the bus, I took 2 buses on a Sunday to go to church. So there was always this, he's just always here hovering. And so as I grew in maturity, I knew that even if I wasn't talking to him, praying, or doing what I was supposed to do, that he would still be faithful. And so there was a silence that I needed, but I knew he was still there. So we just had a break, which was partly because I felt like I needed to work some stuff out, but he didn't go anywhere.
So you moved away from God, but he didn't move away from you.
Absolutely. Very well said. Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely.
It happens. I've heard that before, that folks go through different periods in their lives. And as you said you took a break.
I did.
And God says, I didn't move. You did.
Yep. Didn't want to hear what you had to say. Like, I shut it off. And meeting women in my support group, which is why I'm here, you have to kind of reach out to other breast cancer survivors that look like you, that talk like you, that understand what you're going through. Because sometimes family, they're going through that pain and that trauma just like you are. But because it's not them, they do not necessarily know what to do.
So when you say it's not them,
right,
you mean, as we were talking
right,
a few days ago,
yes,
cancer is 100%
my journey,
your journey.
My
You're the
journey.
one that's getting poked and prodded, and family and friends
Yes.
have no idea.
So reactions to your hair falling off, someone walks in the door and they go, for me, that was oh, hell no, get out of my house. But that was just her response, my mom's response to seeing me without hair. Me and my mom have had conversations because there was a little rift between us because I didn't think that she gave me the adequate support when I had cancer. But in speaking to her after coming down from my anger, the anger horse, she said, oh, no, I came over and I did this, 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 and this. And no, Mom, you didn't. Like, what are you talking about? And, so we had to have that, like, she's like, and in conversation with you, I think she intended, right? Mm-hmm. We talked about her intending to do it, but it just didn't happen. My mom and I and my sister grew up together very close. My mom was a single parent, and we were her friends almost, right? And so when I got cancer, I think she was just like, but she's the one that I depend on. So she continued, hey, are you doing this? Are you going to cook? Are we going to do this? And I'm thinking, do you realize I just had surgery?
She had no concept. No context.
I think she was on autopilot like I was. Yeah.
So you don't think she was a support? Who was your support system?
My husband, who I kind of, I'm careful in calling my husband my support because he's my husband, right? We take care of each other. So he did what he was supposed to do because he's always there. So my support was the women that I reached out to. My breast surgeon told me about a organization called, I forget what it's called now. And that's where the support groups actually came in, okay. Turning Point. And that's where it opened me up to Tia and you guys. So you have to help yourself. And that's one of the themes that I have learned that I want to kind of talk about: self-reliance, okay. and self and family tolerance. Because when you get that diagnosis, again, because you cannot escape yourself. In the lonely times, in the hard times, you're by yourself. So just know that you can always depend on yourself. And that's one of the most interesting and the hardest part that I had to learn, that I was enough. And through the women, I learned that I was enough because they had to suffer and they had to draw from strengths that they didn't know that they had. So just know that you are enough.
Would you also say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, that your other support was the Holy Spirit? Absolutely.
I know that Oprah calls it that voice that you hear when something is going wrong, right? Girl, don't go down that way. You shouldn't go down that way. But again, I think that my relationship with God is very complex. And I can't share that with everyone because people who are too religious will say, did you hear her say she's not praying anymore? And people who are too spiritual, who are, I don't know. My problem is not fixing anybody's interpretation. All I know is that for a period of time, I didn't pray because I didn't want to, but I didn't have to because I know that God was faithful and I didn't need to do external things. And not everybody understands that. And I've gotten feedback. People have told me, oh, when you said you stopped praying, I was like, girl. And you realize that people are not as mature in their journey as they think they are, even the ones that should be supporting you. So
journeys are personal.
Absolutely.
So you have a personal journey in your breast cancer.
Absolutely.
And our spiritual journey is also personal as well.
Absolutely.
So Terry, what's next for you? As you are recovering, you're out of treatment, you're caring for a young son. Obviously, you're in a marriage that is wonderful for you because whenever you talk about him, you just light up.
Absolutely.
So what's next for Terry?
So what's next for Terry is the experiences that are coming my way. For example, I have had the privilege of being in the presence of a dying person, which I would have never had I not been in the cancer community. I saw that death can be a beautiful thing. It can be a peaceful thing. And it's very hard to wish or hope or be ready for a sister, someone that you're close to die, because you don't want them to suffer anymore. And so that in itself has opened me to a whole different paradigm. So that's where I am now. I serve that one person and know I'm serving another. And that's where I am. I am actually helping people to get to that other part of life. And I'm open to whatever the Holy Spirit wants me to do. I'm a fighter. I don't take things without arguments and questions. But being called to say goodbye, I went there. I've never seen someone dying before. I said, there is nothing wrong with her. You are all tripping. And she was dead in 2 days. So with my present person who is on her way out, I've learned to be more jovial, to be more present, to just give her whatever she wants and she needs. And when the time comes, I can't tell you how it will go, but this is like a whole different level of life.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you being here with us today and sharing your journey with breast cancer. And I just want to say to our audience, your private pain has a public purpose.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Beyond Bridge, a place of strength, support, and shared stories. If the conversation touched your heart, be sure to share it with someone walking this journey. And always remember, you are not alone. God walks with you, even in the valleys. Lean on His promises, trust His timing, and never lose hope. Until next time, may you be covered in grace, filled with courage, and surrounded by love. I am Jacqueline Anthony. For all of us at Bridge, thanks for joining the conversation.